Bet you thought I wasn't gonna do it, huh? Thought I was capping? Nah! You fools. Now I'm gonna go way too in-depth on this topic. Way further than anyone should ever go on something like this. But this video must be in the zeitgeist. So that means that we're talking about the legendary being known as the Mosquito. How strong was it? And a lot more. Now in this video, I'm going to be playing devil's advocate, don't worry. The first half will be in favor of the Mosquito, and the second half will not. So if analyzing the power of this mythical being is going to trigger you, then maybe you should watch this video, because you know it's good to step outside of your comfort zone every now and then. So first of all, the Mosquito is not something new. It wasn't just for the anime or anything. This reality-bending being was around since the very beginning in the webcomic and has congruent feats throughout all continuities of the series. In fact, its feats are so consistent that it could be argued that it exists outside of space and time, maybe? So, first, it shows up when Saitama is watering his cactus, and that's when the epic battle begins, which the wiki foolishly labels as a win for Saitama, and then contradicts itself by saying the outcome is Saitama being unable to kill the Mosquito. That doesn't really seem like a win to me, so maybe somebody should fix that for the record books. But let's go into why Saitama was unable to kill said Mosquito, because the answer goes much deeper than what you might have thought, and it probably is going to shock you too. So we see Saitama earnestly, might I add, trying to swat the Mosquito, but he is of course unsuccessful to do so. And multiple times he is in fact unable to even catch this being. And at first you might think, well, Saitama just isn't fast enough to catch him, which would mean the Mosquito is faster than Boros, as Saitama was able to compete with his speed and intercept his attacks. And dare I say, he's even faster than His Holiness in the meteoric burst form, as Saitama was even able to catch him during his blitz. But I don't think it's just pure speed at play here, and that's because the Mosquito is manipulating gravity. Yep, and this is not only how the Mosquito is able to avoid Saitama, but also survive his strikes. So I'll let my good friend Bob Lazar explain how this works.
It's impossible. Nothing can move like that. You're essentially separated from reality. As crazy as that sounds, with being encased its own gravitational envelope, inertia is not going to affect it. Because space-time and gravity are all interrelated, if you could produce gravity artificially, an extremely intense field of gravity, what you could do is actually distort the distance between two objects and make it shorter. Not just distorting the distance, but now you're also decreasing the time between the two places.
So we can't really blame Saitama for not being able to catch this being, as it's not playing by the same set of rules he is, but how does it explain how he's able to survive Saitama's strikes? I mean, we clearly see him smack the thing, and the force of it even creates like shockwaves. So is this creature even more durable than Boros as well? Well, not exactly. You see, this feat is attributed to its gravitational abilities as well. And I'll let Bob, who is my good friend, explain this too.
If you have a
Mosquito
that makes gravity, you can pretty much do anything. You can affect time. You can have force fields. You literally become invincible.
So there it is. The Mosquito encases itself in a force field that not even Saitama can penetrate. So now that we have a full understanding of the Mosquito and its abilities, how powerful is it? Well, it's the strongest being we have ever seen besides Saitama, quite easily. And while we don't know its offensive capabilities, its gravitational manipulation puts it in a league of its own. And as Bob says,
you literally become invincible.
So that means we're pulling out the G word for this one, because it is a definitive disaster level god being. No ifs, ands, or buts, no debating. This makes it canon now, so that's that. But now let's go into the other argument, because, you know, like I said, we're playing devil's advocate here. We gotta keep it fair. So this is essentially a gag scene. It's just a joke, nothing more. But it's fun to say that it's like this all-powerful being, because Saitama couldn't catch it or kill it. But like in the manga version of this scene, Saitama monologues to himself about how he's lost all emotions and joy in life after gaining his power, and that fighting superhumans and monsters is no different than if he is crushing a mosquito. But what makes this funny is because in this sequence, he is in fact receiving a challenge from an actual mosquito. But it also kind of relates Saitama's struggle to like the everyday man, like in comical one fashion. It all ties together. It's just a fun little sequence, nothing more. We shouldn't really read too deep into it. We shouldn't, try to relate it to Bob Lazar theories about space-time and gravitational manipulation. I mean, whoever does that is pretty much an idiot. But there is no monologue in this scene in the anime. I mean, it's like that specific monologue is moved back to the third act of the first episode instead. And this is probably to make the sequence more comical, as that was one's original intention with season 1 of the anime, as per the director Shingo Natsume. And also, like, if we want to get really pedantic about this and see what the actual fate of the mosquito is, well, we can see that Saitama tracks it all the way down to where Genos is fighting Mosquito Girl. So this could mean that the mosquito is in fact being pulled to her, because at that moment she's like pulling all the mosquitoes to her to get all of their juices into her. And that could mean that the mosquito originates from her, which is very possible because, the whole theme of this episode is her releasing mosquitoes into Z City and whatnot. Or it could just be a coincidence and a device for the two to meet, so the plot can move forward. But this is also where we see the mosquito tanking bug spray, which adds to its impressive feats. But then Saitama says it got in his mouth, and then we never see it again. So did it join the rest of the brood? Well, if it did, then it might have been killed by Genos' incineration cannon. But given that its gravitational manipulation makes it invincible, I highly doubt that happened, which means the mosquito just jumped space-time after leaving Saitama's mouth and still exists out there to this day. But that's just a theory, a big Z theory, and this is pretty much it for the video. Let me know what you thought about this one, guys. I hope you had fun with it and you weren't too triggered. But if you liked it, please give it a like. I also have a Patreon. Gives you access to a weekly Q&A. And if you haven't already, please subscribe as well. Have a great day, and I'll see you in the next one.